Good day, viewers at home. My name is Akinropo Akinola. I'm the lead researcher of Perema School of Parenting. So what do we do in Perema School of Parenting? We have one mandate, and that mandate is to help and support parents increase the quality of parenting and the methodology of nurturing African children, as well as families with regards to the right value system for the children to grow up with. We believe that parenting and family is the hallmark of nation building. Nothing works unless and except parenting and family has taken its rightful position in the scheme of things here in Nigeria, Africa, and in the world. So today on our episode, Cradles of Eminence, so far we've brought eminent Nigerians who really qualify to be part of this show. These are the great individuals who have made marks, remarkable marks in their endeavors in a way they've shaped this nation, Nigeria, to a rightful place in the community of nations. When we look at our teenagers, the youth, when we look at them now, when you ask them, who do they know or what do they know about eminent Nigerians? They won't be wrong if they will not really mention eminent Nigerians that you and I, that their parents are used to, who had actually made remarkable input in the way Nigeria is being shaped for the best. So the purpose of this show is to bring the values down to our children, to our teenagers, because the purpose of Cradles of Eminence is to narrow down the values that eminent Nigerians have lived with when they were young. So it's a celebration of childhood values. So today on this show, we have another eminent Nigeria here. His name is Ambassador Joe Keshi. So please permit me to read few profile of our guest today. Ambassador Keshi is a renowned technocrat of versatile experience. Is reckoned with a remarkable track both in the public and private sectors in Nigeria. He retired as the permanent secretary of both Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Cabinet Secretariat under President Olusegun Obasanjo and President Musa Yar'Adua. A diplomat for 34 years, that's massive, who served in Togo, Ethiopia, Belgium, the Netherlands, Namibia, Sierra Leone, where he participated as a facilitator in the negotiations that ended the 10 years of civil war in the country. You can see how qualified our guest is to be eminent African son. And the United States of America, where he served as the Consul General of Nigeria based in Atlanta, covering the southeast of the USA. He also served as the National Coordinator, Nigerian National Volunteer Service, NNVS, which has the mandate to mobilize and facilitate the involvement of the Nigerian diaspora in Nigeria's development. He currently serves as the Director General of Braced Commission, a body set up to harmonize socio-economic development in the South-South region of Nigeria. Our guest, Ambassador Joe Keshi, an eminent Nigerian, in his private sector track, he has scaled the ladder of success in United Bank for Africa, UBA, between the year 2010 and year 2021. He was appointed a non-executive director. Now, he served as the chairman of the board of directors and currently serves as the vice chairman of the board. He is also the chairman of AfriGrowth, a foundation and a member of the board of trustees of NOC University, Kaduna. Our guest is a graduate of political science from the University of Ibadan. He holds a master's degree in administration and development from the Institute of Social Studies, The Hague, with emphasis in policy analysis, and an executive course fellowship from the John Kennedy School of Government, Harvard University, Boston, United States of America. While he traveled Ambassador Keshi is a recipient of many international and local awards, including our own, the Officer of the Order of the Niger, OON, conferred on him by the federal government of Nigeria. It's a pleasure to present our guest to you, Ambassador Joe Keshi. We want to know about his childhood memories, childhood values. What are those values that he was raised with? What are those values that made him to be thick even up till now? What are those values that played key role in the past 50 years in his life? From the profile I read, you could easily summarize that Ambassador Keshi has been around in this world in active service. I'm not talking about his age now, in active service for almost 50 years. This qualified him to be an eminent Nigerian. So I present to you my guest, Ambassador Joe Keshi. Good day, sir.
Good day, thank you.
We want to thank you on behalf of the faculty for giving us this access into your house to present this show unto you, Cradles of Eminence. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
So how...
And welcome to my home.
Thank you, sir. How was your childhood like?
First, let me commend you for what you're trying to do. When you called me and you told me what you are trying to do or what your organization does, I thought that I would participate in this because I think it's very important in order to help the youths of today.
Thank you, sir.
Particularly when you, in your intro, you did say you wouldn't be surprised if a number of Nigerian youths or people don't even recognize or know a number of the eminent personalities they have in this country, which is true. More because history is no longer being taught in schools. You know, but going back to my childhood, first I grew up here in Lagos and in Ibadan, and I also had a very wonderful parents, you know, who taught me a lot of values, the values of respect,
yes, sir,
integrity to start with, hard work. Especially hard work. As I said, I think I've mentioned respect, hard work, integrity, compassion. You know, and to understand and listen, you know, to people before I pass judgment and the rest of it. And these values continue to serve me till today. And I'll just give you an example which I give to people most of the time. You see, in those days growing up in this country, in the 60s, 70s, many of us not only had parents that influenced us, that guided us, but we also had people that we looked up to, that our parents used, you know, as examples of what they thought we should be or the people we should listen to. I remember that I didn't mention the fact that we're also compelled to read particularly a lot. They were very passionate about education, and my dad in particular used to insist that we read the Daily Times, especially during when we were on holidays. Daily Times was one of the major newspapers in those days, and he actually compelled us to read, not just read the newspapers, but there were times he kept some papers and drew our attention to specific, you know, issues. Now, there's this particular picture of the late President of Nigeria, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, that my father kept. On the front page, it was, I remember very clearly, it's a Sunday, you know, Daily Times. And the headline is, Zik wants Nigeria, with his hand pointing like this. So anytime we run into problems, especially when we're in secondary school and we think we're becoming big boys, my father will bring out that paper and say to us, like Zeke, I'm warning you boys.
Wow.
Like Zeke, I'm warning you boys. And that has remained with me and my brothers, you know, for all these years and so on, because it just shows you that we had people that were also helping us to shape our lives.
Thank you, sir.
We also had, I mean, growing up in Ibadan, yesterday I gave a lecture where I made a comparison between the governors of today and the governors of the days gone by, like the leaders like Chief Obafemi Awolowo, you know, who as a premier, he managed the whole of what you call Southwest today. But as a premier, he was not only a philosopher, a great leader, but in the way he did a couple of things before the military incursion into Nigerian politics and then created new values. There's a premier that goes to work only with his dispatch rider, his own car, and he goes from Okeado to Bodija. Today, this western region or western southwest has been divided into 6. An average governor goes to work with about 16, 16, 17, yes, you know, very expensive vehicles. So you now compare the value, the mindset of that leader and today's leaders. And these are the things, this exhibition of wealth, which never existed in my own time. For us, the value was education. Our parents simply wanted us to, you know, to be educated, and they were not interested in accumulating wealth. Their whole event was that, look, the best they can give us was education. And I should also mention the issue of religion, because it played a central role in our lives, you know, because, again, compelling us to go to church every Sunday and great event as a Catholic and the rest of it. So I can really tell you that all this has helped over time to shape, you know, my life. Even once or twice that we were cut off for doing one thing or in school, particularly being a Catholic school. You know, in those days, the mindset of our parents was very interesting. For our parents, after God, the next most important was the priest. And the next after the priest was the teacher. So if you offend any of these two, the priest and the teacher, in fact, invariably you have also offended God. As far as our parents were concerned, those are at least my parents. So I find it amazing today that you find parents going to school and almost beating up teachers or beating up principals and you know, misbehaving. You know, in those days when children are expelled from school, nobody drives into any school, at least not, I went to school, you know, drive any school to challenge the principal. Nobody calls any traditional ruler or police to go and deal with the teacher. No, these are part of the new values that we've created that have influenced a number of children and things like that. But again, you don't blame most of the kids. Things are changing. Yesterday, I made reference, I can't remember whether it was yesterday or so, no. On another interview, I drew people's attention that in those days, it was professors and the people in the university that led public discourse. Today, they virtually disappeared. You don't hear the voices of professors and experts so much, except perhaps a few in Lagos, particularly on the economic issue and the rest of them. And the consequences of that is that the space that they vacated, the space that people with credibility vacated, has been occupied by new actors that are creating new values. And this is what children are, you know, imbibing.
I was talking about the education because that is the most important thing. When you made mention of Chief Obafemi Awolowo Chief Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, and some other leaders back in the days. What they made focal point of their value system in governance is education. They believe that once education has taken its rightful place, every other sphere will be settled. Now we spend so much to train our children in school, in education. Virtually, public education had disappeared into the thing here. Yeah, that's why people still believe that education still holds the right key to the future. Sir, what advice do you give the political leaders that we have now in education? Because the reason why some parents today will go to school to fight teachers, to fight principals, to fight school owners, because they discipline their children, part of the reason is the fact that they pay so much money to send these children to school. They pay you so much. If my child does anything wrong, what policy do you have? Or rather, why couldn't you call me? They just believe that in so much that they pay, that you have no right to beat my children.
It's a wrong mindset. Teachers, as well as education, plays a great role in the life of children. Look, my generation, a number of us, we still remember with fond memories, our headmasters and our teachers in those days, because they were great educators. Did they punish us? Yes. Did they beat us? Yes. I remember our headmaster in primary school in St. William's in Okeado in Ibadan. He has this kid ready, steady. As soon as you misbehave, somebody gets somebody to put you on the back and then give you a few strokes of the cane. Our parents dare not come to that school to challenge them. And our parents did not. You see, what has happened today is that some parents now believe that they've gotten so rich and powerful or influential, and that their kids are special. Nobody else can help them raise their kids. That's a wrong thing. For us in this part of the world, there is a saying which, unfortunately, someone like Hillary stole from us in Africa.
Exactly. It takes a village.
It takes a village to raise a child. Look, when we came to understand what double jeopardy meant, we applied it to how it affected us when we were growing up. By the way, growing up in Ibadan and here in Lagos, look, my house is walls. Okay, so I don't even know the guy who lives next in the other house. Do I know much about this? This guy is a little friend. But the point still remains that because we had no wall, it was like an open environment. The mothers in particular, in those days, most of these women didn't work anyway. Most of them were traders or were doing little things to help their husbands, our fathers. So like during holidays, we fight outside, we do something wrong and so on. The lady in the next house steps in to take care of the situation. She disciplines you. Your mother comes back, invariably, almost all the time, your mother returns back first. Your mother comes back, she tells your mother what has happened and what she has done. You get some punishment or some scolding. Your father comes back home. Be sure that your mother also will say, look at what your son is doing. You better warn this your son and keep him in check. So we put that down to triple jeopardy. One, the neighbor has done that. Your mom has taken care of you. Your dad. I mean, look, this all shaped us as we were growing up.
That's community.
Exactly. But today, you find that some parents, I don't know, I saw a video some few years ago. In fact, this Queen's College here, it was part of where the discipline in school started. I don't know whether it's the son of a minister or somebody who was beaten up in that school. And even the Minister of Education at that time had to intervene. I think Jubri or something like that. Yeah. Or whether it has to do with hair. I can't remember precisely now. But the intervention of the minister the point I think should be made is that in taking away a lot of powers, for discipline. I'm helping children, I'm helping parents to bring up children. We have actually contributed to destroying, building the morality of those kids and also destroying the education. Because teachers, and the way we treat teachers today, it's almost unbelievable. How can you send kids to school to learn? What are you asking them to go and do? To learn only science? To learn law? To learn the basics from secondary school and so on. And then you believe that that's all. Now, if your child misbehaves, if your child slaps somebody, if your child beats somebody, you honestly believe that the teacher has no right to discipline? No. In fact, in pain, you are paying for that teacher to help you bring up a good child.
Children, yeah.
Not for you to go to school and start threatening teachers. I feel so sad. Look, my younger sister is a principal. And I feel so sad when she tells me how I think she spent more time trying to manage parents than the people. And for goodness sake, the fact that you are rich doesn't mean that you should lose who you are as a person, as an individual. You've given them responsibility that you can't do at home. You don't discipline your child. You don't discipline your child at home. What do you expect your child to do outside? Your child, it's uncontrollable at home. What do you think your child will do outside? Your child lacks simple manners. For goodness sake, what do you think your child? Look at you, the way you greeted me. Look. You see, talking about, look, I went to see a friend one time in Ibadan. The way we operate, there was no parents that will give you his car to say roam around as they do today. No, it doesn't. So these are our legs. It was our Rolls Royce. But what we used to do, when we go to see a friend, from that friend's house, we pack ourselves to another friend. From that friend, by evening time, we could gather, more than 20 kilometers. And then we play, we do everything in one house. And then we all, the same way, we start going back again. So there was this day I had gone to my friend's house in Adamasigwe, I believe. The father was on the corridor. I greeted the father the way you greeted me. I went down, prostrated and greeted him and so on. And we had a little chat, And I went to my friend's room and saw the mother, greeted them, and then we took off. We did not know that the father also we didn't even know the father knew the father of our friend that we were going to see in Bodija. Of course, he had the car, so he arrived in Bodija long before us. So this is a house that we know very well. So when we crossed, when we came into the house, he was sitting down waiting for his host. So we were surprised to see him, and because we were not in his house, we just said, Daddy, you are here. Afternoon. And then we just walked past. We know our friend's room. We just went straight to our friend's room and so on. My dear, we ran into, when we came, as I said to you, when we start going back, we go back the way we started our journey. That's, we go to the house where we collected the third or the fourth person. Then we go back to the house where we collected the second person. Then finally, as we were arriving in my friend's house, for me to continue, the father was upstairs on the corridor. I said, no. All of you, come upstairs. So we went upstairs, and the man was mad with us. That, who the hell do we think we were? We saw him outside, we saw him in the house of so. And we just passed and said, good afternoon. I said, good afternoon. I said, who are you? Well, it was boiling that we were getting out of hands. That we were lack manners. So is this the way we behave outside? Is this the way we don't show respect to elders outside? The noise got so much that the mother of our friend came out and said, Daddy, what is so? These kids are just coming back. I said, no, that is the point. You should have asked me what happened. Now you want to defend them. That,
You didn't know what they did.
You didn't know what they did to me. What did we do? that we did not
Prostrate.
to greet him as we should, as we were taught to be respectful, to give honor to elders. That was only our only offense. Believe me. Before you could know it, it could always the mother was like, okay. But they are just coming in and, okay, look, you boys. He said, no, particularly your son. You have to warn your son. This is getting... Why am I relating this? Just to tell you what I said, that, you know, that these were things that mattered not just to our parents, but they felt it was what built a society. So you don't learn respect at home and then you become disrespectful outside. I think that today, as a nature of societal development, the involvement of new cultures, the involvement of global mass communication, our youths are copying so many things, so many wrong things.
Yes,
and unfortunately, neither the home, nor the institutions, nor government is helping them to shape into, you know, no, I'm not saying that, I'm just making a general statement, but by and large, the truth of the matter is that you see, look, I can't go on the street. Like I was walking out this morning, and it just strikes me all the time that when I cross an elderly man or a couple or something like that, the first thing is, so they don't even know me. I'm said to greet them, they greet me. I run into another, they greet me. When you see a lot of the young ones just pass, as if they're in another world, then you begin to wonder what.
Exactly. There was a time, sorry to cut in, there was a time I did a post on my social media handle that is snub. You either snub or you salute. Salute and snub. That a friend of my dad came visiting us some time ago when my dad was formerly in the police. Then
my dad was in the police in Ibadan.
So then his friend was in the military then. So his friend came visiting us at police station, Alakara by Mushin. So, and our dad was so tough. And coupled with the fact
like all policemen of those days.
So coupled with the fact that his friend is military too. So immediately we saw that one, we would run, we would hide. So one day that man just saw, the man said, when you see me, don't run again, because in military, whoever you see on the road, in the barrack, you must salute. Mosa.
Oh yes.
Whether younger staff or you must just greet. So the man said, don't ever you run from me again anytime I come. So sir, from then, something like that struck a chord within me. Up to now, that when I go out, anyone I see on the road, when I go on public transport, I greet people.
No, you see, what we don't know is that when you tell this story about the African culture,
Yes,
the respect, the greetings, how we, and so on, particularly to the African world, like in the US, when I served in the US and in Europe, they are amazed. And they almost invariably realize what they have done to destroy their own society. A child could come in from school and just pass the dad, hi dad, and then walk away.
Okay.
The days of my ancestors, you will never accept hi dad. No. It is a proper good morning or a car or whatever language you speak. You greet your people very well. Today you don't. Look, I had a vice principal who later became a principal. He died in a car accident when he retired. He was doing some work for the federal government, Chief Adigun. As far as Chief Adigun was concerned, all his students must dress properly. And for him, properly means that you must talk in.
Yes,
You understand what I'm saying? You must talk in just as well dressed as you are. Chief Adigun could stop you in the church going to receive Holy Communion for you to talk in. Chief Adigun could be going anywhere in Ibadan. And that's the beauty of the principals and teachers of this day. Chief Adigun has a knowledge of facial knowledge of all his students. So if he's driving anywhere in Ibadan, he sees one or two, or if he passes a group of people, he looks on the mirror and sees one of his students. He will park that car in front. When you guys near that car, he will ask you, including your friends, everybody talking and dressed properly. So it was one running battle we used to have with him. So what we used to do, when we were coming to school, day school at that time, before we went to the boarding house, you just flip. You know, we thought we were becoming boys. We were making it and guy. We don't feel like just like this, and then we leave it this way. But as soon as we get to the school gate, we're all talking. We're all talking. Because there's no way Chief Adigun will make you dress properly. And then one day he traveled to Rome, and he's a very tall, handsome guy, huge, typical of the Ibadan folks. And he was dressed in a red ashoke, well distinguished, and then beads to go to church in the Vatican. Now, when you go to the Vatican, particularly on the days that the Pope says Mass, they always select about 20 or 25 people to receive Holy Communion directly from the Pope. The rest go to other priests on the, assisting the Pope. Our popes are normally elderly, so they don't want to stress them. But the tradition is that they select people.
Go to them.
That they just go identify you and tell you at Holy Communion time, come in here. This is where you go and receive the Pope. They had completed the list when Chief Adigun was walking into the church. And the guy who was doing it just looked at this tall African guy and just so distinguished that he started wondering, who the hell was this person? But he couldn't figure out, but he just loved the whole dress from, So he now went to him and said to him, look, I've cut off the days, only 20 or 21, 25 or so we receive, but I'm going to add you. So he added Chief Adigun to those who received Holy Communion from the Pope that day. Wow. When he came back from Rome, he held a town hall, what we call town hall today, to tell us the essence of proper dressing. Proper dressing. How dressing makes a man. How dressing is what creates the first impression. And over the years, I can also attest to that. I can give so many stories about that myself. And so, when my children do come home sometimes on holidays, particularly December time, in the evening, when my boys want to connect, my boys here, including my daughter's husband, when they want to go out in the evening, I insist that they dress properly. I insist. I agree with you that there's a lot of distraction, but no matter the level of distraction, parents must not lose the fact that their first obligation is to raise proper, disciplined, well-behaved kids.
Thank you.
Children. They must not lose that. They should also conceive that, because they are busy, because they are also missing something, that the schools should be obligated or empowered to also help them to mold the child. That's also what schools are for. So when a child comes to school and is trying to tell you, in my house, we have this, we have that, we have this, I can't do this, I don't even work at home, I don't do this at home. No, parents must not allow children to behave that way.
Yes, sir.
That's why, never mind that it's been discredited, in one of the episodes, Bill Cosby, actually treated this issue we are discussing. Yes. The child comes home and said that he's been grounded or expelled for so many days. And the parents say, what did you do? He said, yes, that the one girl was calling her a snob because she's rich. And then I had to, whatever she did to the girl, back again. And the father said, "Oh, are you rich?" And the child said, "Yes, we are rich." And the father said, "No, no, 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 no. Your mom and I are rich. You are not rich."
That's sound. Perfect.
Your mom and I are rich. You are not rich. You don't have anything. Everything in this house belongs to us, not to you. You have to go out and make. You are not rich at all. Look, I remember my son once we were in Paris, and he just saw Concorde, a young, and he said to us, no, we should change our flight and go and get into Concorde. He has no idea whether Concorde was going to where we're going. He doesn't even understand that we have bought a ticket that we're just making a stopover in Paris to continue. And I said to him, this young man here now, he's a father himself, and I said to him, no, boy, no, son, listen. Your mom and I, one day, I said, we'll ride the Concorde. If you want to ride the Concorde, grow up, make your money, and buy your ticket and go to Concorde, and then ride on the Concorde.
Perfect.
This man, the chairman of Coscarios, Maduka, I saw a video of him where he was telling a similar story of his children trying to get him, trying to force him to buy a car for them to go to school, I think it was Unilag, because he said people of their father's age, all the children come to school with cars, and why should they be suffering when they are rich? And the father, he told them, said, no, you are not rich. You're not rich. And it led to a problem in the house. And at the end of the day, what happened was that he said one of the boys actually accepted and mellowed down, but one in particular did not. He asked the boy to pack out of the house and left. And the mother he said, no. Let him go and join the father of the rich people. So it is the value you set at home from day one that children will take out when they get into the larger environment.
Thank you, sir.
From
all indications, sir, you are an eminent Nigerian, a great son of Africa, not Nigeria alone. So what advice do you want to give the teenagers of today, who are mostly Generation Z? Some of them are just 17 years, 18 years. Some of them, a larger percentage of them are going to the university now. Sir, what advice do you want to give them so they too can qualify to be eminent personalities right from now, not when they get to 50?
Like what our parents did to us. Our parents' major objective was to prepare us for the future. And we also did that.
Yes, sir.
And the children of today must also begin to prepare for the future. Number one. Number two, I also want to appeal to all of them not to think that they all will be superstars, that they all will be celebrities and things like that. And it's not by behaving like one or wanting to be like one that is life. No. Life is what you make of it. You can find comfort and happiness in any profession you get into. It is what you make of it. So it's not a question of you wanting to be a musician because X is a musician and is making so much money, or you want to go to computer because so is is making money. People should get off this whole question that money is life.
Money is life.
Money is good.
Yes, sir.
It gives you comfort. But when you drive it with so much passion because A has made it, no. Look, like our parents, kids should learn to go through the ladder. And if they do that successfully, they will grow. And in fact, they are living in a better environment than we lived. Things are easier for them than it was for us. Even educationally. My days was the days in which you have to cram 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 3 to 12. You have to read the ruler where they put all these things. Today, you don't go through all that. Every information in the world you need has been put together in a tiny bit of things called iPad, computer, internet, and the rest of it. That even gives you an additional tool for you to improve yourself. And wherever you go to, look, you see, people today see the wealth of Dangote and the rest. They did not see those guys when they were suffering. They did not see them when they were carrying load and traveling in, there was no night bus, traveling in all these long trailers to go to the north and import goods that they were selling here.
Exactly.
And they didn't see them. They are now seeing them wealthy. They are seeing them riding private planes. They are seeing them riding jeeps. No, it all came with hard work. And one of the things that youth today miss is that. And that's where, much as I like the music, I can't remember who made the music, but you see the philosophy. Olúwa tí ń bá pè ẹ́ dá mi lóhùn, Dangote olórí méjì, Kíní olórí méjì. You know that.
Beg, I beg.
And I beg. That philosophy, I love the music, but I'm also worried that that's the philosophy of the young people today.
Exactly.
What made all these people was hard work and the push that parents gave them, particularly in my case, particularly my mom. Listen, I was a little bit of rascally, not rascally in the sense of what you see today. I think the most disobedient thing that affected me was I love football. I can play football in those days in the barracks on morning till night, we used to. But the problem was, you cannot cross from Yagonku to the other side, the railway station. The myth then was that if you are crossing and the railway is coming, you will invariably be hypnotized and you'll be killed. It was a lie. So we were banned from...
You'll be magnetized.
Yeah, magnetized, sorry. We were banned from going across the railway to challenge those boys in football match we do often. But we violated it as often as we can and went to play and we got punished for it. We never stopped. So I'm not going to sit down here and pretend that, we're not stubborn. We're growing up like any other child. But the truth of the fact is that as often as we misbehaved, so we pay the price.
Yes, exactly.
Consequence. Today, nobody is applying that. So everybody, even at home, there's so much impunity. I've been in homes where children would dictate what they want to eat. And they would say, their mother will now call the house girl and say, go and do this, and so on. For goodness sake, my mother's attitude was fine. When you are hungry, you will eat. That is true. When you are hungry, you will eat.
Thank you, sir. So viewers at home, you've heard it all, especially the advice Ambassador Keshi gave the teenagers. The first one is you have to be hardworking. Then the second one is you don't need to be a celebrity before you make an impact. You don't need to be a celebrity before you become eminent personalities in the world. What qualifies you to be eminent personality? By virtue of what you have done for the society, by virtue of the solutions you have created, ingenuity you have birthed that will now make the society to benefit from that. Those are the things that qualifies you to be eminent. So this is Cradles of Eminence. It's been an awesome engagement so far with Ambassador Keshi. We've learned many things from him. I want to say thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So till I bring another eminent personality your way, please stay tuned. Children, teenagers, if you're watching this, you have to really be hardworking and value the process. The processes count. You don't jump to become who you are not meant to be. You go through the ladder, go through the processes, and the sky is even not the limit. You go ahead into the sky. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cradles of Eminence. Instructive, informative, and interesting.